Hey everyone, welcome to How People Flourish. My name is Chris Banky and I am here with Prudence O'Hare. Prudence, how you doing?
Well, it's been a bit stressful setup today.
Yeah, and these chairs. You said
Mhm.
people like to hear the
No.
inside.
No, they don't like to hear the squeaky.
Oh, they just like to hear how funny it is that we're trying to
we're
not move
dealing
at
with
all
squeaky chairs.
because we're dealing with squeaky chairs. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited about today. We're going to be digging into this topic of peace over pressure, or peace not pressure. And we got a book that's coming out. I'm super pumped about that. Are you? You pumped about it?
You have a book coming out.
It's not even out yet, but I'm excited. We have copies of it here.
Yep.
And you've read it, haven't you?
Right here.
Have you read it?
Yes.
You have?
I have read it.
Fantastic. I'm excited about that. I am super excited about launching this. We're working on upgrading some of our things, and we are now streaming on our platform on the chrisandprudence.com website. So if you're there and you're watching, that's awesome, but we would love it if you would actually log in so you can participate in the comments. That would be amazing. So you can kind of see it there, and hopefully that goes well. And I think we got to do the trivia. We got to do the trivia, but not everybody's hooked up to this thing, right? So I don't know. It might just be you. It might just be quizzing you. It could be you against me, and I could just pretend like I don't know the answers.
Okay. All right.
We always, if you're just tuning in for the first time, put in the comments where you're coming to us from and stuff like that. We love to see that. But also, if you haven't seen one of these before, we always do this trivia, and I get this random trivia from the internet, and then Prudence always she does a pretty good job. I always say that she wins, and then she doesn't like that because she doesn't really usually win, but she usually does pretty good. So, are you ready? This is pop culture trivia.
Oh boy. Okay, let's go.
Do you think you can do it? You think you can? Okay. So let's see. Let's start off really, really, really hard. And by hard, I mean hopefully easy. So actor Steve Carell plays what memorable character in the popular TV series The Office?
Oh,
Michael Scott. Absolutely correct. Okay, so you see, so far you've got 100%.
That's an embarrassing fact to know.
Why? No, it isn't.
There's nothing regal.
Okay, dude. Okay. Okay, this is one you'll know. I think you'll know. This is one I think you'll know that most people will not know.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see who else might know this. Some of you guys might know this. So put in the comments if you know this. Okay. In what? Oh wait, I started reading the wrong thing. Okay, Whitney Houston went to the top of the music charts in 1992 with which Dolly Parton song?
Oh, I Will Always Love You.
Okay, dude. Nice. Excellent. That's actually correct. That's actually 100% right. Now, you know the facts about that song. Like who Dolly wrote that to, like her producer?
Yeah,
or
it was a breakup with, I think it was a producer.
Oh, but it was a romantic thing?
No, it was a
he just produced good records.
It was a business breakup. Yeah,
I'll tell you this, business breakups are sometimes worse than normal breakups.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to turn her loose very well.
She was a money-making machine, I think. She was a money. Okay, let me see here. In 1988 movie, the 1998, my goodness. Okay, this is a really weird question. I'm just going to read it exactly as a weird question.
Okay.
The 1988 movie Mystic Pizza launched the career of what pretty woman? And that quote,
Julie, you want what actress?
Is the cheat. The movie we're talking about is
Julie,
Mystic Pizza.
What's her face?
What's her face is not her name. What's her face is for sure.
I want to say Julie Andrews is not.
No.
That's not Julia Roberts.
Julia. I have like a. Wait, I just have to. It's worth it. It's worth it. Stand by. I have to. Here we go. There you go. That's the
Okay,
applause.
applause.
Okay,
Okay.
so excellent job, Julie Roberts. Okay, last question.
Hmm?
None of this has anything to do with peace over pressure, by the way.
Uh,
But last one. Okay, you probably don't know this, but you should.
okay.
What actor plays Ken in the 2023 blockbuster movie Barbie?
Oh, I wouldn't know that.
Come on,
I never did
make
watch
a
that
wild
movie.
guess.
No,
Let me.
I
Here, I'm going to give you a clue.
okay.
Amaze.
Oh, Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling.
Ah, well, I had half of it right. I think.
Wait, is Ryan Gosling the guy that Gosling? What was it? Hail Mary. Hail Mary. No, we have to know this. Project Ryan Gosling. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I said. So okay. So I put in the comments what you think Prudence's score should be. I think it should be 1,000. I think it should be 1,000.
I hope there's a decent prize.
There is a decent price. It's a free copy of the pre-release book, Peace Not Pressure.
Well,
What do you
okay.
say?
Yes.
Okay. You want to kick this off?
Okay. So today we're talking about the subject, peace, not pressure. Now, this is based upon this book that is this out yet?
It's not out.
Okay, it's not out yet.
It's out here in this room.
It is here in this room.
Some people have it.
Chris is just putting this book out right on the heels of Your Divine Blueprint. And is this book for everybody or just specific people?
It's for people that can read.
Okay.
Actually,
So
I shouldn't even say that. We'll have audio too. So for people that have
so
ears
is it for everybody?
or eyeballs. This book is for everybody.
Okay. Because everybody deals with
Well, put in the comments if you've ever felt like you've been under pressure. And if you haven't, then this book may not be for you.
Okay.
Or
I think that's pretty much
if
everybody.
you'd like more peace in your life.
So when we're talking about the subject of pressure, pressure is kind of it's something that shows up all the time in our lives.
Yeah.
But it's not meant to be something that is long term.
I mean, ideally not.
Okay. So let's talk about the hard truth. The pressure that made you successful is the exact same pressure that is quietly breaking you.
Yeah.
But I actually marked a couple of things here.
All right. Wow. You marked a
Well,
bunch of things.
Yeah. Henry David Thoreau says the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't say that.
No, Henry did.
Yeah.
But in this particular chapter, it says your brain is not a machine. It is an organ, and like every organ, it has limits.
Yeah.
So willpower and decision-making draw from a shared finite pool of mental energy.
Yeah.
Every decision you make, from what to eat for breakfast to whether to fire an underperforming employee, depletes that pool. So as you noted in chapter 1, social psychologist, I'm not going to mention his name because they'll read it, but called this ego depletion. And basically, there's a cognitive limit and load. And the pool is not bottomless, it drains.
Yeah.
And it drains faster under pressure.
Yes.
And this is why we make worse decisions at the end of the day.
Yep.
Okay, so you talk a lot about brain science in this book and how it relates to would it be chronic stress? Is that the same thing as what your pressure that you're talking about?
Not exactly. Let's set it up for people because they really don't know about this book. Isn't even out yet. So essentially what we're going after in this book is a belief that the world we live in today, and tell me if you agree with this, Prudence, the world we live in today kind of has this badge that it gives to being busy, being under pressure, being under stress. It's kind of like if you work in an office, put in the comments if you believe this is true, or if you have this experience, or if you felt this way, put it in the comments. You kind of look around and there's this unwritten rule that the person running around really busy, and you can tell that if they're not faking it, they're like really busy, and they're on the phone, and they're doing email, and they're going from meeting to meeting, and they get there first and they leave last. Like that person's doing the good work. Like that's looked at as good. And when people say, "Hey, how are you doing?" "Oh, so busy. I'm slammed actually. It's crazy how busy I am." Like it's like we have this badge that says I'm the busiest. And we wear it and we kind of say that we don't, but let's say you're in a season of your life and you're not that busy and you run into somebody you haven't seen in 10 years and they say, "How are things going?" You The truth is, "Well, things are going great. I'm really not that busy right now." It's almost impossible to imagine the average person saying that. That just even if it's true, they won't say it. And the reason is because culture worships busyness and it leads to burnout. And so, what we are going after in this book is, first of all, we want to unpack the truth that is, that in our culture, we worship busyness. We don't mean to, we don't think we do, we do, though. We
Mm.
do. And if you've experienced this or whatever, like put it in the comments, you've been there. Um, and so, what does that actually do to us? And so you mentioned brain science. So in this book, I unpack the truth of what, boy, that chair really is.
Let it distract you.
This chair needs some oil. I'm trying not to move. Um, Inside the book, we unpack the reality that the way that we are designed, the way God designed us, is not actually to function like that. And I think what happens in our society is we kind of go, 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 go till burnout. And that's looked as amazing. But then when that happens, then you're kind of scolded for not doing enough self care. And self care is usually by society defined as like, watching episodes of Friends and taking a hot bath kind of thing. Neither of those scenarios are really the way God designed us to function. So we're designed to function and work hard. So the answer is not lay around on a beach and that's all you do. But we're also designed to have periods of rest as well. Okay, so we talk about the brain science in this book. We unpack the brain science of the way that God actually designed us is to have these rhythms. And that's amazing. There's a lot of books about that actually. So that's not really what's special about what we go after in this book. But what's special about this book and what we really dig into is after you kind of have this general truth that you need to understand that you need to function well, you need to have periods of rest paired with periods of working. So that's cool. That's like the baseline, though. Lots of books written about that, not that special. But then we take it a step further, which is God designed each one of us on purpose for a purpose in a specific way. And when we live outside of that design for too long, it actually creates burnout. So we have to create an awareness of what the design is and actually function in a way that's in alignment with that. Now, there's no like perfect life where you can just function perfectly and everything that just makes you feel amazing and everything's just like perfect. Like that's not true either. But if you're not purposefully doing that, then the enemy comes in and he creates opportunities for you to really struggle and have a hard time and be out of alignment with your design. And that's really the premise of this. And I take a lot of time in this book to uncover what scientists have discovered over the last 50 years, really. I mean, for 100 years, but really in the last 40 or 50 years, they've really figured out a lot of things about the way our brains work and our bodies, that when they're functioning optimally, we can actually walk out really difficult things with a sense of peace. So the whole premise is we should be able to walk out in peace, not pressure. And that's what this book is calling us to do.
Hmm. So have you perfected this?
Yes, I have.
Okay, just so everybody knows, anything that we talk about is always, we're in process with it as well.
Yeah.
Typically
It's
speaking,
true.
we don't have everything all figured out,
No.
and we're teaching ourselves as we talk about it. So,
The irony was not lost on me as we were preparing for this live stream and none of our technology was working quite right. And I was literally 100% living not in peace, getting ready to talk about this book, Peace, Not Pressure, feeling a little bit like a hypocrite. Um, and having everyone like kind of looking at me like, oh boy, this is not going to go good. So I do think that part of walking in peace is giving yourself permission to not have that figured out, by the way, because the worst thing that can happen is you recognize that you're kind of not walking in peace. And so then it's kind of like when you got to get up really early the next day for a flight or something,
mhm.
and then you can't go to sleep, and then you start getting really worried that you can't fall asleep, and then you really can't fall asleep, and then you're really, really worried you can't fall asleep, and then you for sure can't fall asleep. You don't want peace to be like that. Like, I'm not feeling peace. Oh my goodness. And you start feeling shame that you don't feel peace, so you feel even less peace. You don't want that kind of crazy cycle, but you do have to pay attention to it. So maybe let's unpack some of it. What do you think?
Okay. You want to start with like the collateral damage? What does this pressure actually cost?
So one of the things that we dig into in the book is the reality of how low the quality of your thinking becomes with the less peace that you have throughout a day, for example. So your brain, so like if you go to the gym and you like start doing arm curls, right? The first five, if you got a good right range for the right weight for your body, the first five is no problem. But if you just keep going until you've done 80, like you can't do it, right?
No,
It's exhaustion.
it's burnout. It's muscle
It's
burnout.
muscle burnout.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody can kind of relate to that. And you probably all can also relate to doing something mentally really taxing. You're going through a very stressful situation, having a really difficult conversation. And then at the end of that, you're kind of like, well, I'm just like, my brain is mush. I can't think well. So those are like two extremes of exhaustion. But the truth is that every single minute of the day, your brain is working. And until you have a period of rest, it's continually working. Like, let's just pretend it's at the gym. So your brain is at the gym all day long. And the more decisions that you make, the more thinking that you have to do, the more energy it expends. And there's only so much that it can do in a given 24-hour period. And then the decision making goes down. This makes sense. It's kind of hard to detect sometimes. Like, we don't actively think about it, but the truth is that when you're making a decision at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, even if you're not totally exhausted, like you kind of feel like you can make the same decision, but the truth is you actually can't. They did this study, we talk about it in the book. They did this study where they looked at how judges um, make their verdicts. This is a gavel motion.
Mm.
Their verdicts at the end of the day versus the beginning of the day, and it was something crazy. Like, I don't know, it's in the book. It's like 70% more likely to give a guilty verdict at the end of the day versus the beginning of the day.
Oh, so if you ever have a court date, make sure
Morning,
it's not at the
morning,
end.
morning is the time. And they're like,
Mhm.
why is that? And the reason is because the judge doesn't want to make a mistake. And these things are always complicated with lots of nuance. And so at the end of the day, it's easier to just go guilty.
Mm.
And they studied this. It's crazy. There's a whole book written about it. So that's all makes sense. But if you add one more layer onto that, which is when you put yourself into a situation that's out of alignment with the way God made you, you make that taxing part worse. So, for example, Prudence is a really high cognitive person. She's a really high solutionary, really high stabilizer. So, if I put her in an environment that doesn't work well for the way God designed her, she has to spend more tokens, if you will, of her brain power to make the decisions and the conversations and whatever the scenario is. She has to spend even more than somebody like me, that I would, if it's a situation that's more in alignment with how I'm wired. So the cost is more. It's kind of like when you're driving your car and you're looking at your miles per gallon meter and you floor it, it like goes down. You go the same number of miles, but you burn a lot more gas to do it, right? Or you go up a steep hill. So when
Mhm.
you're working on, when your brain has to do things that are out of alignment with your design, it's like your car is going up a steep hill and your gas miles, you have to spend more gasoline to go the same distance. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Have you experienced this?
Oh, a million times
A million
probably.
times. Exactly. It's very
Yeah,
difficult. It's
it is
very difficult.
difficult.
And it's not super obvious, which is why it's so important to pay attention to it, because once you unlock this, it becomes really powerful.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that some of us are probably more aware of our inner thoughts and thought traffic, and just recognizing that you're in a predicament or you're in a with somebody that is very
Mhm.
different,
Right.
that is very taxing,
Right. Like
energy
like
wise.
it wears on you.
Right.
Yeah.
When I have to keep up with a high driver, so to speak, it,
Those
it,
guys are tough.
it I spend a lot more emotional coins
Yeah.
doing that. But
Are you
so,
saying I burn through your coins?
yes, I do. Okay,
It's
so
crazy.
you also talk about knowing your design, and how does that relate to peace, not pressure, as we're talking about being aware of who we are and our God-given design, and even just our gifting and callings and stuff. But why don't you kind of put a little bungee cord on that?
On our design and how it's
Yes.
tied in?
Yes.
Uh,
Um, I don't think I marked.
well,
Um,
while you're looking, this book is not all about the nexus. It definitely talks about the nexus, and one of the concepts that we do talk about in this book is kind of what I was just touching on a moment ago, which is if you can get an understanding about how God wired you, then you can pay close attention to a couple things. One is you can look for the things that are in alignment with the way God designed you and make sure that you're filling your life with those kind of things that are in alignment. Now, what you don't want to do is believe that you're only able to do those things that are exactly what feels great to you. Because God asks us to do hard things that are out of our alignment all the time. But here's the really powerful thing, because he does do that. And if you're not walking out things that are challenging to you, then I would propose that you're not really fully walking out what God has for you, because he wants you to have to partner with him. And to really be able to fully live out what he has for you, that is a requirement. So, what's interesting is that when you know this, it doesn't mean that you just jerk off all the things that aren't in perfect alignment. But what it does mean is that you're now walking into the things that are out of alignment with a mental awareness. So you can prepare better, you can recognize better, you can spot things that might have made you upset before, but now you recognize, oh, that's not how I'm wired. So I'm giving myself permission for that to be frustrating instead of feeling shame that you're frustrated over something. So having an awareness of how God has designed you and how that relates to the life that you're walking through is tremendously important if you want to walk out in a lifestyle of peace versus pressure.
okay, so you're talking about the friction of doing things that drain you versus the peace of operating in your lane.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yes. What do you think about that? Like, have you experienced that in your life?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Like, I don't like selling anything.
Why not?
Oh, just it's awful.
Just don't
It's
like it.
awful.
Just don't
Yeah.
like it.
There are many, many things that are definitely I am not designed to participate in or do.
Yeah.
Um, so I do understand that
Right.
completely.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't do them sometimes. Sometimes we have to.
Yeah.
But because, as we often talk about, that discomfort helps us to grow in places that we didn't know we could.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between actively growing and purposely growing in uncomfortable places and living in a place where you constantly feel like something is going to explode.
Yeah.
And there's this stress that you live under all the time. And it just is so draining.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are talking about when it comes to this book, right? It's really the fact that we have to stop living under this chronic pressure.
Yes.
Because if pressure turns coal to diamonds, then many of us are allowing the pressure to crush us into diamond dust.
Yeah.
Because
Wait,
we're
not
under so
diamonds,
much.
just diamond
Not
dust.
diamonds
Just
that can
dust.
fit in a ring. Just diamond dust.
Yeah.
We're just dust because we're just existing
Yeah.
to participate in pressure.
I think you bring up a good point too. Like one of the things that, one of the things about this book is there's a lot of books that have like, the 7 keys to, and it's like a tactic. It's like a little tactic to like trick yourself into getting more done or something like this. And, I have a whole book, I've got bookshelves full of things like this, and they're not necessarily not useful sometimes. But the problem with a tactic is that it doesn't really address the problem. It's kind of like if I cut my pinky off and then it's painful, so I go take some ibuprofen. I didn't solve the missing finger problem, even though it helps stop. I feel a little bit less pain, but I didn't solve the actual problem. And that's what a lot of these tactics are, is they're kind of trying to figure out how to address the fact that we have no peace in our life by getting better at the tactics. And we should get better at the tactics. But the truth is, if we don't have a good understanding of how God wired us and that he called for us to live a life that is reasonable to walk out in peace, if we don't start with that foundation, then we're going to feel the culture push against us to tell us it's reasonable. Like the subtitle of this is The Science of Sustainable Leadership in a World That Worships Burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is you're like, the world doesn't worship burnout, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely does. And it's so bad in some cultures that people just die at their desk. This happens in places like Japan. Like they have a thing, they even have a name for it. It's still common. We have to recognize that without the pendulum swinging over to, oh, so what I'm supposed to do is nothing.
Right.
No, like actually, and it's a biblical principle too. Like when the Bible says, my yoke is light, if when it doesn't say when you follow Christ, he takes your yoke.
Yeah.
He says, my yoke is light, meaning not that it's easy, but that when you're operating in accordance with what God is asking for you in your life, they work. It's still hard. There's still periods of difficulty, but you can actually walk in peace, not anxiety, not stress, not pressure, not feeling like you suck all the time, but instead you're actually walking in a sense of peace. You might be doing the exact same work, but from a standpoint of peace.
Mm-hmm. So just a quick summary. When you're talking about knowing your design, you can go to our website or you can give them a link or something.
Yeah.
That is
to take the Nexus?
Yes, to take the Nexus basically, and get started in understanding a little bit more about all of that.
Yeah, so if you don't know what the Nexus is, so there's an assessment that we've created called the Nexus Profile. You can take it for free at thehumannexus.com. I just put a link in the comments. I don't know if you guys can all see that. I know that there's a lot of people that have not actually logged into this, but it's thehumannexus.com. So if you're watching this video, it's thehumannexus.com. And if you go there, you can take the Nexus. It takes about 15 minutes. The thing that will help you do is understand how you're wired. This is how God wired you from birth. This is not your personality. It's not a personality test. It's not like Enneagram or anything like this. Something significantly more powerful and goes beneath the surface of that. But that is not like, that's not the only thing that's required. Like, once you have kind of a rough understanding of how God wired you, like through the Nexus or just self discovery, but the Nexus is very powerful. But once you have that, you still have to apply it to your life.
All right. Exactly. Exactly. Because everything we have the responsibility to put action steps to.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So we understand that there is this decisions between peace and not pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But and we're understanding that it's a problem for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us.
Yeah.
So, practically speaking, what are we supposed to do with this realization that we're recognizing this is a problem for us? But what do we do with that information?
You read the book. No, actually, so I'm gonna put, this book is not out yet. I think the book is extremely powerful. I'm gonna put a link in here. If you go to peacenotpressure.com/book, peacenotpressure.com/book, you can just sign up to receive a free chapter. We'll send you a free chapter sometime the next day or two, and then also as soon as it comes out, you'll know. But I'm also gonna put another. Oh, my dog has come in.
There's a dog that just barged in. Okay. So as you're doing that and you're adding that link, so you can't just change your schedule. You have to change your reactions.
Well, yeah, and I want to make sure I don't say something that I don't mean to say at all. This book is not about like creating me time. It doesn't need to talk about that really at all.
Mhm.
This is not about like, hey, you need more self-care, more salt baths.
Mhm.
That's fine and everything. That's not what this is about. It's also not a book full of tactics, like trick yourself into pretending to have peace. It's not a book about meditation and yoga postures. There's nothing like that in this book. This book is designed to specifically create practical and tangible understanding about how your body and brain work and how that becomes stimulated towards burnout without an awareness of that.
Okay, so book is really quite about awareness.
It is a book about awareness, but also tactical and practical tools to help you understand what, once you first have to understand a thing and then you have to know what to do about the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is those two things together, creating an awareness and a reality of, we have to understand how we're wired. We have to understand what is happening in our brain. Why do we feel pressure? Why do we feel pressure? There's certain things that happen in a day where on Tuesday that thing happens and you don't feel pressure and stress. And on Thursday, the same thing happens and you do. Why? So the book helps unpack the reality of how our brains work, brain science, body science, chemicals, hormones. There's all these things that are happening, but that's also only informational without practical tools on how to walk that out. So there's concepts in here like, how do we flip the 80-20 and create an environment where 80% of the time we're living and walking out things that are in alignment with how we're designed, instead of the typical, which is only 20% of the time that's happening. How do we flip that around? And there's tools like the pause, pivot, advance thing, which we talk about that some in our Nexus training, but this kind of takes a little different approach to actually create places for us to walk out the reality of our design in a way that reduces pressure, things like that.
Okay. So, I think that this is probably, especially in our culture, is we tend to really swing the pendulum one way or another. From what I've seen in American culture, it's just like, whoa, and now we're over here. And we have problems just bringing it back into the middle ground where it's healthy.
Right.
So you say that peace is not passive. Peace is highly active and an intentional choice to stop reacting and start responding.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me if this is true. Put this in the comments if you agree with this. But when people say peace, they usually equate that, and there's a bunch of reasons why, but they usually equate that with passivity. Is that true for you?
Well, I know that there's a lot of differences, but yes, like the first thing that you think about when you think of peace is just like no worries.
Hippie.
Yeah.
You think of hippies.
Yeah.
Peace, man. Like, no worries. Like, let's go surfing. By the way, if you're a surfing hippie, I think you're amazing, by the way. But that's like kind of what culture has programmed us to think. And there's a whole bunch of reasons, which I don't really dig into in the book, but that I've studied that have to do with political posturing and all sorts of things, which doesn't really matter. The truth is that when we say peace, we really think of passivity. That's a Western culture problem. That is not true. Peace is the absence of chaos. I don't know about you, but the absence of chaos sounds nice to me. Does it sound nice to you?
Yes.
So what I believe is that God has created, first of all, the Bible says that he's not a God of chaos. So I believe that he's created a way for us to exist and walk out our assignments on the earth that's not chaotic. Not chaotic is not the same as not hard. It can be very hard and not chaotic. Not chaotic is not the same as unpredictable. They seem the same, but they're definitely also different because there are things that happen in our lives that you can't predict. And that's where I think we get tripped up a lot, is when the thing that we didn't predict happens, what our reaction is usually one of chaos. Peace is when we are able to have that thing happen, see it coming, have that stuff experience, but we have such a clear understanding of who we are, whose we are, why we're here, and how to handle the situation. And we have tools and an understanding of what our brain's doing, even from a physiological standpoint, that the chaos doesn't draw us into it. We all know somebody, maybe you're this person, that like crazy stuff is happening, in an event or a party or a group setting or not, or just in life or on the road, traffic, there's an accident or just like chaos. And everyone gets kind of sucked into it, except for this one person. They just seem to be like, yeah, that doesn't bother me. Oh yeah, I see what's going on. That's okay. Like I have a level head about it. These are the guys you want to be surgeons and stuff, right? Like they don't get sucked into the drama. God has designed us in a way where we should be able to do that. So when life is chaotic or things happen that are difficult, if we're operating well, we should not be drawn into the chaos.
So you're saying we're not managed by the chaos.
We're not managed by the chaos.
We're managing the chaos.
We're managing the chaos. It doesn't mean the chaos doesn't happen. That's what I mean by saying.
Yeah, because it does all
it does.
the time.
It's a requirement of humanity. And also, like, we're called by God to go into all the world, make disciples of nations. So if we're going to do that, that involves shepherding. If you're going to be a shepherd, you got to smell like sheep, right? Like if you're a shepherd that doesn't smell like sheep, it means you're not really a shepherd. You just have like a badge that says shepherd on it, but you're not really a shepherd. And so like, if you're going to do that, you have to be able to walk through the chaos, but not be drawn into the chaos. So think about Jesus for a minute. Like he's the perfect example of walking through the chaos. In every situation that you read about in the Gospels, every situation, he's like, there's chaos all around, and he's never drawn into it. But he doesn't avoid it. He doesn't like, listen, you guys, until you get your crap cleaned up, I'm going to stand over here. Like he doesn't he navigates it flawlessly without it ever causing pressure. So it's a perfect example of peace. It's not avoidant and it's not passive. It's actually, peace is actually the most powerful form of like in implementation, if you will, that we can actually have. It's the most powerful. It's the least passive, actually. It takes activeness to do it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it does take effort. It does. And unlike any habits that we're forming or belief systems that we're forming, it takes work. Well, first it takes the awareness to understand what's happening, and then it takes work and action to help develop that management over the new belief
Yeah.
and thought pattern.
Right.
So unfortunately, and I think that you touch on this a little bit in the book about what we've normalized.
Oh, yeah.
And how when we've normalized things doesn't mean that it's healthy. It
Right.
just is something that's we seem to think is normal does
Yeah.
not mean that it's right.
Right.
It doesn't mean we're supposed to be there or living in it. That's a fallacy. Just
Yeah.
because we
That's
say
so good.
something is normal
Yeah.
doesn't always mean that it's good.
Yeah. In the book, I change the definition. I say just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal.
Yeah.
So we see it all the time. We say, "Oh, it's just normal to feel that way."
But also, you
No,
know,
it's not normal.
I
It's just
think
common.
I think that a lot of us that are living under intense pressure, and we have normalized it because that's all we have known for so long,
Sure.
or we don't feel normal without the pressure. If the pressure's taken off, I mean, I've seen this actually with you sometimes, in when
What?
you're in a space or you don't have like a bunch of meetings or calls or something, and you're like, I don't know, I feel kind of,
Something's
weird.
wrong. Something's
Yeah,
wrong.
something's wrong. And I'm like, actually, nothing. I don't think anything's wrong. I think that you don't recognize that you don't have to be wound up,
Yeah.
all the
I've
time.
never been wound up. I don't know what you're talking about.
And that's a weird place to feel
Yeah.
for some types of us,
Yeah.
But I do know that there was a point in my own life where I was trying to understand why I had a body symptom that was unwanted. And so a doctor told me to do a food elimination diet for a couple of weeks and see if that solved the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually did. And I removed this food out of my diet for 2 weeks, and the problem went away. And it felt really good. And then a part of the test was to reintroduce the food and see what
So you get
happens.
totally clean for 2 weeks, and then you start adding the foods back.
Yeah. And so when I did add that food back, it actually made me so sick. I vomited.
Right.
And I'm like,
thing that you used to
I
eat all
told
the time.
doctor, I said, why on earth would my body do this if I had been like, why is it acting so violently against it?
Right.
And he's like, well, you just haven't known what it's like to feel good. Your body,
Feel health. Yeah.
your body doesn't know what it's like. And so it's rejecting what you're putting back into it. And anyway, I kind of liken it to this type of thing because I feel like a lot of us have been living under circumstances that we've normalized, but it's actually been making us sick.
Right.
And we don't know it.
Right.
Because we're coping with whatever's been happening for so long. We don't know that life is supposed to be any different.
That's really good.
And that we can feel better.
That's really good. I think to your point, there's a little thing I just put in the link to do this, and I think everybody should do this. And you go to peacenotpressure.com/score, SCORE /score, peacenotpressure /score. And there's a little quiz there. It takes like 2 minutes, and there's 13 questions, and you just rank yourself on each one. Super, super easy. And it'll give you like a score, your pressure score. It's really helpful because sometimes people have to your exact point, like eating the gluten or whatever, so fully normalized the pressure that we do not recognize it. And I would propose that every single person listening to this has done that to a varying degree. Like, we are so used to the pressure, to your point, Prudence, when you're like, hey, you're in this place without pressure. And then I'm like, there's something that's not right here. And you're like, yeah, it's that you're not under the pressure right at this moment. Go read your book again. So it's kind of like we've so normalized it, we don't recognize it. So this little thing helps you take it down. My prerequisite is you commit to yourself to not feel shame when your pressure score says that you're under a lot of pressure. Because most people, pretty much everyone that's ever taken this thing, which is not a lot because we're just launching this, but I've had a whole bunch, probably about 50 people have gone through it. Almost all the reactions are like, I don't like, now I feel worse because now I see my score and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not the point. The point is awareness. And that's one of the things we talked about it earlier. You got to have awareness first.
You got to have awareness. And you know what? We're always going to be weeding stuff out of our lives. I mean, even right now, we're working through something right now that we have been realizing has been enormous amounts of pressure.
Right.
And it hasn't been healthy.
Right.
Hasn't been healthy for us. And so we are looking at, well, how do we exit out of that particular thing in our lives? And
in the right way.
In the right way, leaving whatever it is well and all of that. And it's really hard sometimes. If it's like a relationship or a job, or maybe it's a combination of all of that, and you're like, you're just not really sure what that looks like. Even if you're making the right choice, you're doubting it all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I do think too, like we talked about this, but the first step is awareness. And then the next step is you have to take it the next step. So a lot of times people will do things like this, or they'll hear a podcast like this or something, and they'll go, wow, man, yeah. And then that's it.
Yes, because oftentimes it is harder to get ourselves out.
It's hard.
From what we're doing.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
That's been grinding us into dust.
It's been grinding us into dust.
It's not been formulating diamonds the beautiful way.
Yeah. So awareness. But what I have seen is there are a couple exceptions of people that I have met. But I would say 98% of everyone that I've ever met, which is, it might be higher, it might be 99.9, I don't know. But basically everyone is living in an environment where the pressure is building, and they have developed really amazing, sometimes not good enough though, coping mechanisms to deal with that pressure. And you don't see it until the coping mechanism snaps. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what happened to Susie? She just, ooh. It's because the coping mechanism no longer was sufficient. It's not because all of a sudden Susie had pressure. So what I mean to say is that pretty much everyone that's listening to this probably, okay, if it's not you, that's fine. But like most people are living under an unreasonable amount of pressure. They're not walking out this, my burden is light yoke. Now, it's not pressure God put on us. We put it on ourselves, and it's kind of normal. And you don't even recognize it until something snaps, right? But you're still living under it and still radically affecting you. And we dig into the ton of the science on how that's screwing you up in the book. So what would it look like if all of the pressure you're feeling right now stayed the same for the next 10 years? Like, think about the things right now that are just unreasonable pressure on in your life. And if nothing changes, 10 years from now, all that's still the same. Like, how's your health? Physical, mental, spiritual? How's your family? How's your kingdom purpose? Like, how are you walking out the reason God put you here if the status quo remains the same? And I think most people, if they ask themselves, and I'm asking you to ask yourself this, if you ask yourself this, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to make a change. Like if I look 10 years out and things just stay the way they are, no way, not gonna, I gotta change. The enemy's trick is to get you to not really look at that
Right.
and just kind of float along. But man, like you owe it to yourself and to the creator of the universe that created you for a purpose to figure out the things you got to figure out and recognize the reality of the pressures that you have so that you can actually live a life of peace. Because if Jesus is the model and he walked in perfect peace, then we need to figure out how to do that also so that we can walk out as effectively as possible what he's called us to walk out.
Yep. I would say that's pretty much sums it up. So you're saying that people can have the first chapter of this new book. How do they get that?
Okay, it's actually the first and second chapter. So the book is almost out. It's not out yet. It is. I'm definitely biased, but I think it's actually an incredibly important book.
Well, and
I
it's
personally
and
think.
it's there's a story woven throughout the whole book that you just lived in this January.
Yeah. So
That's insane.
30-second, 60-second history of this thing is I started writing this book several years ago, and it was 95% done, and I didn't release it. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I think the Lord was kind of holding it back. And then when Prudence and I were in Portugal in January for our anniversary, a crazy thing happened. You're going to have to read about the book, but essentially I got really sick and had to go to the hospital for emergency surgery. And going through that process, we had to stay in the country longer. It was crazy, nightmare. God God completely rewired my brain, I think, and gave me kind of some downloads on how to rewrite this. So I kind of rewrote that story into this book. And now I feel like it is incredibly important because what he taught me over that period of time, he kind of exposed to me the truth of how I was carrying this pressure, but like pretending to walk in peace, but really carrying this pressure. And I think that is the truth for almost everyone is that we're carrying all of this pressure and we're trying to pretend like we're not. And then we're like trying to medicate ourselves with, Epsom salt baths and, large bowls of ice cream. And that's like literally the least effective thing you can do, at least the ice cream is. So he kind of rewired my brain, and that's what you find in here. But what I think would be amazing, what I really think everybody should do right now is we're doing a couple of things because this book hasn't launched. If you go to peacenotpressure.com/book, you can sign up to get a free 2 chapters and we'll email those to you. The book is coming out really soon. So once it's available, we'll email everyone and let you know. The second thing is that if you go to peacenotpressure/score, you can take this like 90 seconds to 2 minutes, this little thing, kind of get yourself a pressure score. When you do that, we will email you some information about like, how to walk that out and what does that mean? And like, what does this practically mean? But one of the things that we are doing with that is we are giving people a opportunity to kind of run this pressure analysis. So we'll email you about that. So the thing is, just go do your score. We'll email you this. But it's all about creating awareness. And we work really hard to give a lot of this stuff as much as we possibly can away for free to equip people because that's why this whole show is named How People Flourish, because we are really wired by God to create environments for people to understand who they are and walk that out in their lives. And that's really what these tools are. So to summarize, the call to action here is what? For people to go to the peacenotpressure.com/book.
Yeah, and you put it in the link.
Get a chapter. I put in the link.
Yeah.
Eileen says she just took the score. Eileen, what was your score? Put it just if you don't have to say if you don't have to say. Yeah, mine. I had a very high pressure score, and I wrote this pressure score test, and I wrote the book. Like the reason I say that is, and Prudence, you alluded to this. This is a journey that you are invited to walk out your whole life. There's no little quick little trick. You just do these 3 things when you first get up in the morning and everything's great. Like this is a journey that you have to learn how to hand this stuff over to the Lord to walk in peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really important to kind of remember that. You get that out of alignment, and you're going to have a hard time not being sucked into the chaos. What else?
Yeah.
What else as we kind of wrapping this up?
Well,
Eileen was at 56. Eileen, I was higher than that. I was higher than that. So thank you for being honest about that. So that's
Yeah.
amazing, by the way. What are we're wrapping this up? What's your perspective? It's out.
Yeah.
It's Prudence's
well, we're
perspective.
kind of
on
out of
this.
time.
We're out of time.
We're out of time for
Did I
anything
ramble
much
too
more. Yes, you did a lot of rambling today.
It's because my chair was squeaky and it distracted me.
Excuses.
Yeah, so we're gonna take this replay, we'll send it to everybody. That's amazing. I want you guys to get the book in your hands. It's coming out really soon. Yeah, and also one of the things that you can do to help, what helps us produce shows like this and to get free resources like the pressure score and kind of some of this other stuff out there, is to actually support us. So you can support what we're doing by going to chrisandprudence.com, and there's a little button there you can kind of support us, and also like get the book, share this stuff. We're going to be giving away some free resources to everyone that signs up for this free chapter, so you'll want that stuff, and just stay posted. And feel free to email me, like, if you really want a copy bad. I mean, I have some. So even before it's out, I may be convinced to send this to somebody. Oh, look, there's our score.
Yeah. Well, I think you were supposed to do some contest or something to give away books, and that didn't happen.
No, I'm not doing a contest today.
Well, you sometimes do.
I know, but I didn't want to. Should we do a contest? No, we're not going to do a contest. We're not going to do a contest today. We're going to do a contest on the next one. But let us know what you think, and let us know if you have questions. We definitely want to support you guys, and we really work hard to create resources to be helpful in that way. But I think if you just kind of summarize all of this, you owe it to yourself and to the God that made you to understand how you're wired, so that you can actually walk out your design in a way that is not pulled into the pressure of life, is not pulled into the chaos of life, but you're actually walking it out in the strength and peace that God designed you to walk it out in. The enemy wants to get that all muddled up and tricked so that you're constantly living under anxiety and pressure. But there is an invitation, I think, from the Lord to not live that way. And you don't not live that way by trying harder. You live that way by developing an understanding and actually inviting the Lord in, Holy Spirit in, to actually help you walk that out. And I'm excited about the things that God's been teaching me and Prudence as we're trying to figure this stuff out ourselves. And like you said, it is a learning process. So just, thank you for being on this. Is there something else that you want to add to this? Some amazing wisdom you want to drop?
No. Just we want to be beautiful diamonds with appropriate amount of pressure, not diamond dust.
Not diamond dust. I feel like that first ring I bought you was just diamond dust, not a real diamond, like a super cheap.
Well, I'm ready for an upgrade.
I already gave you an upgrade. I'm talking about the first one when we were in high school.
Okay.
We've been around a long time. Oh my goodness. You guys, this has been amazing. Thank you so much, you guys, for being part of this. Be looking for the replay. Please share this out with people. If you want to support us, you can go to chrisandprudence.com/give, I think, where there's a button up there, give. But also get the book. That's at Peace Not Pressure /book. And if you get on that list, we'll get you a chapter in the next day or two. And then also, as soon as this thing is available, we will get it into your hands. We'll get all the links out there and stuff like that. So it's going to be amazing. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And we will see you on the next one.
Yes.